Have you had any sleepless nights lately? Have you done that thing where you kind of have a pep talk with your brain? You say, look, if we fall asleep right this second, this minute, we can still get, and then you look at the alarm clock and carry the 1, subtract the 5, we can still get 7 hours of sleep if we fall asleep right this second. And then you kind of hold your breath and clench your eyes shut tight, and you spend 10 stressful minutes willing yourself to sleep, and then you wake back up and you look at the alarm clock again and say, okay, if we subtract that, we can still get 6 hours and 50 minutes. I'm serious. We can get through the day on 6 hours and 50 minutes. We got to do it. And then you just keep doing that over and over and over again. Do you know why that's happening a lot right now? Do you know why we're having a hard time sleeping? Because the emotional supply chain is disrupted too. It's not just bikes, kayaks, and toilet paper that's messed up. Connection, community, interactions, everything is disrupted right now. It's been a challenging year. And then we added an election. It's like if you were running away from a tornado and you turned back and the tornado also caught on fire. Or more likely, from a scientific perspective, was suddenly full of sharks. A sharknado, if you will. You might have seen that documentary with Ian Ziering, perhaps. How do you beat election stress? What are some things we can do? Well, I've got 7 things you can do today. But before I get to them, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Why now? Because the tips in this video are so helpful and so delightful that you're going to immediately start doing them and then completely forget to subscribe. A month from now, you'll be at the grocery store buying oatmeal and you'll feel a strange sense of loss. And you'll think, wasn't there a channel, a YouTube channel I meant to subscribe to? What was it? It's this one. This is the one. Hit that button. Tap, 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 tap. Okay. Here are the 7 ways to beat election stress. Number 1, look forward to the future. Find one anchoring joy in the future that you can look forward to. The problem with fear is that fear always tells you this is forever. The moment you're in right now is forever. But it's not. Fear always tells you there's no future and there's certainly nothing good in the future. Don't listen to fear. Find a joy that's a week or a month away. And then think about it. Actively spend time looking forward to it. For me, it's Christmas. I am going to Christmas so hard this year. That's one of my anchoring joys. Second thing you can do to beat election stress, do something you love doing. Stress is sticky. It's emotional quicksand. One easy way to crawl out of its grasp is to do something you love. It can be anything. Walk your dog, read a book, do a puzzle, put together a Lego VW. Look what I did. I did that in 30-minute chunks. Look at the little surfboard. It's amazing. A little cooler. Oh, it's the best. Took me 3 months. It's hard to be obsessed with the election when you're busy doing something that you love instead. So, get busy. Number 3, get some endorphins. Someone asked me why I run the other day, and I said, to beat back the waves of stress and anger at the looming election that threatened to roll over my life like a Parisian spring tide or king tide, if you will. I think they thought I was going to say, I like to run because I like sunshine and sneakers. You don't have to run. You don't have to do CrossFit or burpees or jump rope like you're Rocky 1,000 times. But the more often that you get some endorphins in your week, the better your week is going to be. Number 4, write it down. I spent the last 2 years researching and writing a book about overthinking. You can pre-order it at the link in my description. In 2019, Mike Peasley, PhD, and I asked 10,000 people if they struggle with overthinking. 10,000 people, and 99.5% of them said yes. And then we had a pandemic, economic crisis, and election. This year has been catnip for overthinking. One easy way to get stress out of your head and your heart is to put it on paper. Remember paper? 2-sided, doesn't expand or zoom. Amazingly simple technology, really fascinating. Inside, stress is massive and unruly, but when you drag it out into the light and you put it down and you capture it with a pen, it's a lot easier to see it for what it really is. Spend a few minutes capturing the stress of the day. My favorite notebook for that is the Leuchtturm 1917 dot grid. I did a whole video about why I love it so much. You can watch it right here. And there's a link in the description to the notebook. These are my jam. I love them. Number 5, talk with neighbors, don't fight with strangers. You know what's a sentence no one has ever said before? They've never said this. I bet John Acuff can dunk. You know what's another sentence no one has ever said before? I changed my long-held personal political belief because a stranger online yelled at me. Yeah, changed everything. Talk with neighbors instead of fighting with strangers. Better yet, encourage one person today. I made that my goal 3 months ago, and it's been fantastic. Every day, I find one way to encourage someone that I know. It's not complicated. Usually it's just me sending them a text message out of nowhere with some encouraging message. But when I do it, they always are so thankful. Nothing takes your mind off your own stress like reducing someone else's. Number 6, watch less news. Last March, I found myself obsessed with political and pandemic news. I was watching a news program, I'll never forget this, with a running death toll, like an odometer, like death, death, death. And then I was also going, I wonder why do I feel down lately? There's a thin line between informed and obsessed. Be careful that the content you're consuming isn't geared to make you full of rage and sadness as a way to ensure that you click on the story. Number 7, the last way to beat stress. Remember that presidents are temporary, but WuTang is forever. A friend saw this sign in a neighbor's yard and asked me, what does that mean? She didn't know that WuTang was a massive collection of rappers from the 1990s that banded together to form like a super group, an unstoppable group. So I told her, well, let's think through this. The pros of a WuTang administration, the pros, like the good parts would be, number 1, Mary J. Blige will probably do a duet with Method Man at the inauguration. That's nice. I mean, who wouldn't want that? Number 2, GZA will protect the country with liquid swords. I don't know exactly how those work, but his song assures me he is well skilled in liquid swords. Number 3, WuTang is very upfront about taking bribes. They actually publicly promise cash rules everything around me. So we'll never have to doubt. Like, they're going to take money. Now the cons are, number 1, ODB won't be able to be part of the administrations, though he once told us WuTang is for the children. Number 2, they will definitely pack the Supreme Court. They're going to do that. There's like 1 million members of WuTang. Number 3, they are forever. So it's going to end up as more of a dictatorship than a democracy, and it will eventually have to be overthrown by a tribe called Quest or maybe Public Enemy. That's going to happen. And that is how my brain works. It's a stressful season. It is. But it doesn't mean we have to accept that, and it doesn't mean we're powerless. We're not. You and I can do all things that we want to reduce election stress. Those are my 7. Those are my 7 ideas. But if you found a different one that's working for you, let me know in the comments. I'm all ears. I'd love to hear what's working for you. And if you need a little more encouragement, I've started sending out 5 ideas to shout about to my friends every Friday. It's a collection of like the kind of ideas that if you came to my house for dinner, my wife Jenny would be like, John, you're shouting about those ideas. Take it down a notch. But I can't help it. I can't help myself. I'm really excited about new songs you need to hear, like the song of 2020. I love it. New book recommendations, tips for goals, things I saw that week that are hilarious, and much, much more. It's 5 ideas to shout about. If you want to get a copy of it, sign up for free at the link in the description. We're going to make it through this. I know we are. We're going to make it through this. And if you do the 7 things I just shared, it will be a whole lot easier.